Hello there. My name is Irawan Mulia Hakim. I'm from the temporary class of XA, and I record this today to talk about how we can contribute to eradicating corruption. Now, what is corruption? Well, corruption usually refers to a fraudulent act done by a person in power, usually to benefit themselves. Right? But it is not just that. Say you go through a driver's license test, right? And you pay like what 500 rupiah 500k rupiahs and get your license, right? Because it's much easier, much faster than doing the entire test, which some people consider absurd. That in essence is basically corruption. That is something we do not want to do, but we do. Basically, corruption is more complex than just it's more complex than the Ministry of Defense embezzled 3 million rupiahs or something. That's nothing, but you get the point. It's not that simple. But you may ask, I'm here to talk about how we prevent it, not what corruption is. That's why I'm just gonna skip that. We don't need to know about that. Yeah. How we as normal students can contribute to eradicating corruption is there are there are not many there aren't many ways we can do it, but there are ways, such as raising awareness. And what I mean by raising awareness is educating ourselves and other people about what corruption is and how we can prevent it, and why it's so important that our government refrains from corruption and things like that, and why we ourselves prevent, right, why we ourselves should not do acts that can lead to corruption. There's also doing protests, protesting corrupt government officials. And you may say that protests aren't effective. The government could ignore us, but to that I say, we are the country. If the government doesn't listen to the country, how are they going to function? I understand I said that horribly, but you get the point. We, as citizens of this country, have a voice. We can protest. We can we can talk about. Let's say we on the internet we can talk about government officials who have recently embezzled money or stuff like that, and we can talk about it publicly. We can spread information, like, yeah, that's basically what I mean. uh, and in other wait in another sense, no, in another way we can prevent wait another way we can eradicate corruption is by building our own characters and encouraging transparency, such as not hiding things, and encouraging integrity. As in, what I mean by integrity is doing things that you're supposed to do alone, not using it, not getting help from anybody else, not telling other people to do your work and things like that. And another way I mean integrity is not cheating on tests, being absolutely honest, and not doing things that would hurt that. Yeah. Why am I so? Yeah. And why I say we do this is corruption. Those who did corruption, those who do corruption, the higher ups that do these acts, they were once people like us. They were once students, and they may or may not have been told to do to study about corruption, to be in to build their integrity, build their character, and be honest. They may have not been told to do that. So because they may have not been told to do that because that was what 30 years ago. They were educated 30 years ago. The what they may have been educated on would be different than now, and I don't think corruption was as mainstream as it is now. But now it's mainstream, and that everyone knows about corruption. Yes, like this country has a lot of corruption. There were cases a few months ago that reached mind-boggling numbers, and I don't understand why they would do that, honestly. Basically, corruption is bad. Everyone knows this. It's bad. It's bad. It's just bad. It prevents funds from going where they're supposed to go, which could be education, to the Department of Education, to improve our country's education, improve our facilities, yes, and stuff like that. Yeah. The corruption is a complex subject. It is not as simple as government official does. Government official embezzles 100 billion rupees because and spends it on games or something like that. It's much more complex in a sense that you may never know why they did it, but nor will you ever know much more than the amount they embezzled. You may never know who embezzled it. It is difficult to prevent this kind of stuff without being in a position of power yourself. But being in a position of power makes you vulnerable to influence of those who do corruption. You could be influenced. Yeah, it's basically most government officials. They 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 know how dangerous, how easily influenced they can be to the wave that is corruption. Why am I rambling on? I guess whatever. They know how dangerous the wave of corruption is. They know how detrimental it is to our nation, but they corrupt anyways. Why? I mean, why? This why? That I do not know. They have their own reasons, however sinister or however sincere they may be, which may no, it's definitely not sincere. It's definitely not sincere. But they may have their own reasons. They may have been forced, they may have been coerced, they may have had to do it to allocate funds to a different place. But what's important is that we, as students, build our own character to ensure that we do not succumb to greed and do not do acts that could link to corruption, such as I said before, paying someone, paying an official to get your driver's license, or heck, even just using your parents' connections to land a job or land in education, something. Yeah, it's basically, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Actually, well, I did. No. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today, and I, I hope, I hope this was helpful in a meaningful way. I hope, I hope you now understand that corruption isn't simple, it's more complex than it is. And I hope I actually started recording. Yeah, okay. Not funny. Um, well, I'm Irawan Mulia Hakim from the temporary class of XA. I have finished what I wanted to record and I'll be leaving.